Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of The Buzz on Galaxy Television. It's great to be back on the show on this lovely Wednesday. It's midweek and it's the 18th of April 2018. My name is Patience Okafor. Alera is here as well. Good afternoon, Alera.
Hi, Patience. I don't know, I'm just feeling, I don't know, the weather.
Is it the weather outside or the weather in the studio?
I guess the weather outside.
Okay,
generally.
all right.
All right, a beautiful Wednesday afternoon to you out there. And today's edition of The Buzz promises to be informative and also educative and patient. Something trended yesterday, talking about the fire outbreak.
Yes, so
around Ojota.
Ojota. I think that's the second time a dump
that's the
site
second
will
time.
be
Yes, that's
catching
dump
fire
site.
in the space of a couple of weeks. And I was just asking you, is it that there's no way to control, the fire when they have to set those refuse, when they have to set them on fire? Isn't there a way they can control it so that we don't keep having incidences of fire and all of that?
Well, I
It's
just
not a
guess
good one.
the rapid response was pretty fast yesterday. It was fast yesterday, and a lot of people got aware about things because the last time a lot of buses and goods were actually lost due to the
that fire.
So a lot of people are now aware about trying to prevent themselves from being a victim.
My major worry about all this is people who reside
Within the access.
around that dump site. You might think, okay, because your house didn't get burnt or your vehicle or your property or whatever didn't get burnt in the fire, but the fumes that come from that kind of fire, because you live around that area, it could affect you health-wise.
And aside from that, driving along the third mainland, that's Ikosi Bridge, there is always that fume that have to still block you, and it's so blurry that even during the day, the street light is also on there.
That's right. All right, we just urge the Lagos State government, first of all, we want to say thank you that the response team are always on time. But second of all, let us be preventative, in our approach to things. Let's look for ways we can curtail those fire outbreaks, so we have less of them. Welcome to the show. All right, today we're not talking about that fire incident. That was just an aside, but we'll be looking at issues that have trended on social media and also currently trending, which is what we do on the show. Remember, you can join us via SMS. The number is 0708 7407508, and that number is for text messages only.
Okay, and you could as well get to use all our social media platform. That is Galaxy on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Galaxy TV, and also on Twitter, the official Galaxy TV, knowing that you could get to watch previous editions of the program via our YouTube channel, Galaxy TV Nigeria.
All right, we have two guests on the show today. One of them is here with us. The second one is looking for parking space outside. So we hope when we return from this break, he will be at the table. Our guest is Adebukola Olowoyeye. He is a social worker. He's actually the founder of Gold Minds Leadership Initiative, and he's also a social analyst. Good afternoon, Buki.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Why did you laugh? I belongs to a fault, yeah? He's parking downstairs.
Parking space is actually good business. I need to venture into that.
You pay to park.
Pay to park.
Thank you, Buki, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go straight into our program for today. Our first topic is on the police and Shiite members clash in Abuja. For several hours this week, Monday, business and vehicular movement in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, were completely disrupted. Members of the Shiite movement, who had been holding regular protests in the city to demand the release of their leader, Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki, engaged in a face-off with security operatives, and the protests soon spread to major streets in Wuse Maitama and the entire central business district, forcing private offices to hurriedly close down. Some offices even asked their workers to go home to guarantee their safety. Anyways, the police, with the support of soldiers, were able to arrest the situation and to bring things under control, and some arrests have been made. Let's quickly take the footage to the story. When we come back, we'll start our discussion. Stay with us. Allahu Akbar.
Police have attacked members of the Islamic movement in Nigeria during a peaceful protest in Abuja. The protesters were demanding the release of their jailed leader, Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki, who has been in detention for about 1.5 years despite a court order asking for his release. Members of the movement were heading to the office of the National Rights Commission of Nigeria to register their complaints.
These people came there armless. They came to make a protest, to present a presentation to the Human Rights Commission, which is here to protect the interests of Nigerians. They are to receive the complaints and forward it to the necessary and the appropriate quarters. But why should they be attacked?
Police used tear gas and water cannon to disperse the crowd.
Take it as a citizens, we can never cause problem to this country. We can never violate the constitution of this country. But we still stand on our rights. We will still come out and we will continue coming out until they did justice in what they did. If they like, they kill us, we are ready to die for this cause.
In December 2015, Nigerian army forces attacked and killed over 350 members of the Islamic movement, destroying their homes and worship center in Zaria. Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaki and his wife Zinat and dozens of his followers have remained in detention since.
Told me about it. I'm very careful. But you know this thing can smell everywhere. Yeah.
Welcome back from that. While that clip was ongoing, our guest that was parking downstairs arrived at the studios. It's a pleasure to have him back again on the program. He is a reputable artist manager. You know, if you know anything about music business in Nigeria, then of course you know who he is. And he's also a social commentator, Mr. Michael Odiong. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be back here again.
Good to have you back. All right. Also, we have news breaking and coming in right now that hoodlums have successfully broken into the National Assembly while plenary is on, and they have seized the mace. You know, yesterday on the program, we talked about the suspension of the lawmaker, Senator Ovie Omo Agege, and later we hear that these hoodlums are protesting that suspension.
Seized the mace and the House, the Senate,
Gentlemen,
is actually in disarray right now.
Let's talk. How easily it is for people to break into the National Assembly and take what stands as a symbol of authority, you know?
Exactly. I was trying to digest the information because in National Assembly, in the Federal Capital Territory, I'm trying to imagine what would have gone wrong. How did they get into the complex? What happened? There's a problem somewhere.
Without any you
yes,
know,
there's
body.
a problem.
Yeah.
There's a problem.
You see, it's very simple. That is what you get for not doing the right things. You understand? The National Assembly is a seat of power. And you would expect that that place would be fortified with all kinds of security. So now you have a replication of what happens in Edo and Delta states, where Mwagege comes from, at the National Assembly level. So what that tells you is that nobody is safe in this country. Because if hoodlums can gain entrance into the National Assembly and go straight and seize the maze, then who are we ordinary citizens?
In Abuja, by the way.
In Abuja, where you have the military, you have all the security
the seat
apparatus,
of power and everything.
Headquartered. So it's a serious issue, and this government really needs to get its act together, because a lot of things have gone wrong.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's not dwell too much on it. I'm sure updates will follow in a subsequent news bulletin. But let's come back to the topic of the day. We're looking at this clash by the, between the police and the Shiite members. And we saw the footage there, you know, of them protesting and of the security operatives trying to, you know, break them up. And all of that. Buki, what's your take really about this issue? Because the background story is their leader, you know, has been arrested without trial, locked up for over 2 years now, and the members are clamoring for his release according to a court order. What do you think?
Yeah, before we go deep into this sensitive issue, I would like to say, first, it is very, very wrong and not legal for him to have been kept behind bars, and after a court, a federal high court, said it should be released, the federal government, perhaps for security reasons, have not yet released him. It's fundamentally wrong, and I was following the progress of the protest. It was a peaceful protest, and I don't see any reason. They are citizens of the Federal Republic, and they have their fundamental human rights too. They can protest for whatever thing they think is not rightly done to them or their leader. But going deep into it, there's an allegation from the federal government that says that the Shiites, they have these affiliations with Iran. That Iran, it is very, very possible that Iran might be funding this sect, and they don't want such thing to happen. And this is directly telling us in Nigeria that there are things are beginning to take shape. Those are playing politics.
All that are speculations, though.
Yeah, there are speculations, and there are counter allegations too from the federal government. But before now, if you go back 3 years down the line, when we were about going into the election, and people said our president is going to try to Islamize the country, and it's going to be a Muslim agenda. And let's not forget, this is a Muslim president, and the Muslims are protesting. Something is fundamentally wrong. So, talking from the part of from the angle of the federal government, from the Shiites, so to speak, they are saying that the military are compromising, the police force, the system, they are being biased because they get most of their trainings from Israel. These are things they don't come on national TV to say, that most of their training are coming from Israel, that Israel, in collaboration with Nigeria, they are trying to shut down that sect. So those are the things that play beneath what we don't get to know in the public, that is bringing about this Shiite. You know what it takes for a group to confront the military. Those things are done. It doesn't come often. Nobody has that guts to face the military of any. So
especially when you're not armed.
Yes. So there's an undertone to all these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then, Mike. Do you think we actually have respect for the judiciary system in Nigeria?
Obviously, I mean, from every indication, we do not have respect for the judiciary process in this country. I mean, a court gives an order for you to release somebody, and then you don't follow the order, and you say the person is a security threat. Okay, what makes the person a security threat? You should be able to tell the people. You should be able to tell the court, and let the court say, okay, for that reason, let's do this. You see? But my major concern in all this is that when you have those that you're supposed to be fighting for you, they are not as intelligent as those that they are fighting, it becomes a problem. Let me give you an example. This morning I listened to the Commissioner of Police, FCT, and one of the members of Shiite in one of the TV stations. And the CP wasn't really making things easy. All he was saying was not collaborating. The things were so watery that, you would expect a CP to give the facts, but rather he was throwing general statements, while the Shiite member was giving his points. So my fear is, if somebody that you feel is a threat to the nation is more intelligent than the person that is supposed to be protecting you, then you have a problem. Because no matter what you say, from all evidence, the Shiite people are peaceful protesters.
Yeah.
And you are the one that have made this violent. For whatever reason. If you have infiltrators from your own camp infiltrating the Shiites, like you claim, I expected that you would have gathered enough intelligence to say, okay, this is how we are going to combat it. But when you come on air and tell people they changed tactics, so we had to change tactics, so your own tactics is to be confrontational, it doesn't make any sense. So I always say government should choose the right people that would think and be creative in solving issues.
And of course, let's not forget that this particular group have suffered a lot of knocks, you know, in the course of these 2 years. The first incident that happened in Zaria, where they killed about 350, 250, I can't recall the number correctly now. I think about 350
people
of their members, you know, and all of that. And they have kept on the protest. At no point really have they become violent. But then what is bothering me the most is the government trying to infringe on the rights of the people. I'm not even talking about just the Shiite members only. On the rights of Nigerians. Protesting is a fundamental right of every citizen in any country, you understand? And over time we have seen that the government have been trying to resist this protest. They are trying to make people not come out and air their grievances in terms of peaceful protest. We saw what happened with the Lekki toll gate issue.
Going fine.
What
even
the
the
police
Bring Back
did.
Our Girls recently.
Yeah, recently.
Stopped.
Yeah, I'm just citing instances. Even the cause of the land use charge protest, we saw what happened. Now is the Shiites, you know, what is going on? Is it that Nigerians don't have that freedom to say, hey, I'm not happy with what's happening in the country, so I want to go and have a peaceful protest?
Look, let's be very fair. Let's be very fair. It's not only a Nigerian problem. You go to Asia, there's protests. You go to Iraq, Iran, all those places, there's protests. No government wants to be challenged. If you challenge government, they will find a way to challenge you back. So it's a worldwide thing. But the question would be, okay, what are the issues? What are the fundamental issues that these protesters are addressing? And what are you doing towards addressing those issues? If you are not doing anything and you just want to stop them, then it will continue forever because you are not addressing the issues, which is what the problem is in this country.
Yeah.
If they have issues and you address those issues, there would not be any need for them to come back. If Zaki had been freed, there wouldn't be any need for protest. They Bring Back Our Girls, if those girls, all of them were rescued, there wouldn't be any need for protest. But this protest is a way of keeping government in check. Because the National Assembly is not doing that. When you share Ghana must go, everybody kills the issues. So it's only through a form of protest worldwide that you can get things to happen.
That's how you can, yes.
But right now, we've seen several instances whereby protesters are actually prevented from carrying out their normal duty, what they ought to be doing.
Exactly. I think I saw that interview this morning where the Shiite member was talking about policemen stopping them from protesting, from coming out with some of the beneficiaries, the supposed beneficiaries of the people that were killed in Zaria then. So those human rights, those privileges are being suppressed. But unfortunately, I like to say this. It's just so sad that people's destinies are being played with at this point. What I've noticed is that the government of the day, these were the propagandas that they displayed that made them come on board, and now they have to swallow the bitter pill. Let's just state the facts clearly. Some people will make sure that the country is ungovernable. There's nothing we can do about it. If you notice, the Jonathan administration wasn't as worst as this when it comes to security. Look at the killings all over Nigeria. It's getting worse every day. So some people will find, just imagine you're seeing this thing like a religious sentiment or a religious issue, But I tell you, so many people will be sponsoring this thing to make it coercive, to make it ungovernable for this present government. So it's so sad that we just have to just play along as it is, because it's going to be terrible because the elections are coming, and these are the things the opposition party is going to campaign against, that security is not guaranteed everywhere in Nigeria.
But my own take is, if any group of persons decides to probably just want to go and do a protest, they should do it. So far it's peaceful, they should be allowed to carry out.
So what would you say to the policemen that decided to tear gas them and
that's what I'm trying to say.
So
our mentality needs to be changed. It was during the military era that we knew that a lot of people want to come out and protest.
And the federal government will come out to tell you that because of security reasons, and for especially in Abuja, that because I heard the commissioner saying they wanted to see their tactics. They wanted to tactics.
You said they change their tactics, they change their style.
They make it look like they're dealing with terrorists.
Yes.
I get it. If they say their leader is a security threat, okay, maybe they're trying to prevent a replication of what happened with Boko Haram. I get that. You understand? But in this case, they haven't presented any form of threat, as it were. You understand what I mean?
Something directly is happening under their nose, that they had to take the maize. Thugs had to invade, and they didn't come after those ones.
That is a security threat.
I guess the whole security in the National Assembly
they went to sleep,
moved to the Shiite members. Yes, maybe. But then again, I think what again got my attention is the brazenness, of these protesters. Before, if you come out maybe on a rally or a protest, as soon as you hear the siren, everybody disperses. You know what I mean? Yeah. But these days, protesters are bold. They are ready to die for that cause. As we saw, I mean, if you go on the internet and you see more of this footage, you see rather that they stood against the police, and in their own little way tried to defend themselves. People are becoming more bold.
Look, even if we have to talk about even the Edo State, if you could remember when the policeman actually shot a driver in Edo State.
Yes.
You saw a lot of youth that came out and they had to face
the police, and the police ran away.
That's
I think we aired that footage. Yes.
You see, the truth of the matter is this: when you are pushed to the wall, you would react naturally. You understand? Like I heard the Shiite man say, you can't corner their children and wives and expect them
not to react.
They would react because they don't know what you're going to do to them. It is claimed that you have killed over 1,000 of them. They wouldn't fold their arms and watch you. They have to take actions. The question is, would that thing have been prevented? My answer is yes. It has to do with intelligence gathering. Once you have intelligence gathering, you claim that these people have changed tactics. They are not terrorists in the first place. At least you have not seen any traits that makes them terrorists. If you have any intelligence report that they have changed tactics, you find a way to clean up their sweepers inside.
Exactly. I think the most they've done is have like a sit-out,
Now, the police are claiming that they are using children as protesters, and that is against.
It doesn't make any sense.
The law. But then you are bombarding the same children with tear gas and water cannons. So what are we talking about?
And forget that these people were actually going to the National Human Rights Commission.
To submit yes, that was what they were doing. They weren't going to harm anybody, and usually when people protest, they sing. They
sing. I mean that.
Motivate.
So why would you come and tell me on air that because they were singing and dancing, you had to be proactive? It doesn't make any sense.
No, the step is actually wrong. It's a very wrong step.
It is.
In as much as they want to control the security in the Federal Capital Territory, but the move was wrong.
I just pray that we do not start another Boko Haram, because when you push people to the wall, international community is watching.
Yes.
Somebody might decide to start supplying them weapons. And
I pray sincerely we don't get to that point.
I really pray this government does something about it.
All right, this one, someone is reacting here and says Nigeria is a country that has no respect for human rights. I would have preferred if the IGP, that's the Inspector General of Police, or the Attorney General of the Federation came to the show so we can ask why we can't have a protest. I'm sure someone in a place of authority is watching. We'll like to have you on the show to explain to us why we cannot exercise one of our fundamental human rights, which is to voice out when we are not pleased about how we're being governed. All right, let's move on because of time to our next topic, and we're looking at Nigeria and same-sex marriages. British Prime Minister Theresa May has called for same-sex marriages in Nigeria and all other Commonwealth nations. According to her, there should be no laws criminalizing same-sex relationships across the Commonwealth. In her own words, and I quote verbatim, "Nobody should face discrimination or persecution because of who they are or who they love, and the UK stands ready to help any Commonwealth member wanting to reform outdated legislation that makes such discrimination possible." Of course, gentlemen, we recall that, was it in 2014?
Yes.
Ex-President Goodluck Jonathan, signed the same-sex bill and all that. And Nigeria has a zero tolerance for it. But then we are part of the Commonwealth. So if they're saying all Commonwealth nations, should... I'm trying to choose my words.
No, you understand, you know the way it plays out here.
I'm trying to choose my words.
You get to see a lot of people that actually seek asylum outside the shores of Nigeria.
Yes.